Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our grade 6 coding class for today, July 30th, 2020. This month has almost finished as well. Time really flies. Although it does seem like it goes a little slower with us being all locked in and can't really do anything with COVID. But hopefully you guys are all well this morning, and I really hope that you guys are gonna have a great day today. So guys, yesterday we started looking at writing our own functions, and today we will be doing part 2. And I think yesterday went pretty well. So today we are just going to continue and see what we can do with our functions. For those of you joining us on YouTube or new in class, I just want to quickly introduce myself. My name is Mike Geldenes, and everybody just calls me Mr. G or Sir. So I hope that you guys are ready, and then we are just going to get right into it and look at our functions. There we go, guys. That is our objectives today: to recognize when a function could help to simplify a program, and then to use predetermined functions to complete commonly repeated tasks. Okay, today we might actually get to the place where we write our own functions. I'm not sure. I think yesterday we did write something. But we will get to that and just double check. Our purpose: this lesson is meant to further push us to use functions in more creative ways. By also using conditionals and loops, we will learn there are many ways to approach a problem. And we have to remember that some ways are a little more efficient than others. Yesterday we did have a couple of examples where we wrote code and we went through different, if I can say, different approaches, where I think in even one of our puzzles we wrote the code for one puzzle in 3 different ways. Some were a little bit shorter, some were longer, but for now, like I said, as long as we can achieve our goal and we practice what they give us, I'm quite happy. So even if your code is a little bit longer than what they want us to use, or the certain amount of blocks they wanted, that is also okay. I want us to get the concept first before we try and do it as short as we can possibly do it. And then also just remember that coding is really great for improving problem-solving skills and critical thinking skills. Our conditions, remember, that is a statement that the program checks to see if it's true or false. And then if true, the action is taken, otherwise it is ignored. Loops, the action of doing something over and over again. And then our function, a piece of code that you can easily recall over and over again. Okay, and that is our focus again today. That is what our new toolbox looks like. Just quickly want to review this one. Remember, now we have to go to each category and find our code inside. Okay, so there we have actions, loops, conditionals, functions, and then our comment block. So remember, we have to actually select, in this case, the action. So select the action you'd like to perform to see the available options. So here we have our different categories. You're going to select one, and then you will see the available options you have. And then our function block, that is what it looks like for those of you that joined us today. And it will be our green blocks. And here we see us using a function block inside our code. And down here, this function, this appears on the side of your code that will just be there for you to recall. Every time you write a new code, so it starts out like this block over here. This is how when we create our own, we're going to write our name, whatever we want to name that specific function, we're going to put that in there. We're going to write the code for it. And then every time we use it, we can just actually draw it into our code. And we don't have to write the code for that. And then here's our homework puzzle from yesterday. Yesterday, we paused on this puzzle and I asked if we could see if who of you could solve it. So I'm not sure if anybody tried. Maybe you could let me know in the chat box if you guys tried it and if you managed to solve it. Now, if we look at this puzzle, look at this. We have 3 different functions that we wrote. Okay, our first function is to pick a long path. So we would repeat until there are pumpkins, and this is the pumpkin right here. What would we do? We checked each square for corn. Now we can see in here we have functions within functions. So this one was a bit difficult. So what we'll do is we'll go through this once we go to Codeorg and we will try and write this out. But we can see we've used a function within a function and then also another function. So here we've got all pumpkins, check square for corn, and then pick a long path. We've used 2 other functions in this function. Okay, so Michael says he tried it. Okay, guys, and then here, that is what we're also going to focus on today, create and use a function from scratch. Okay, I just want to quickly go through the steps of that. So here we have make a square, so we can do anything we want. So if we want to make a square, we will change it to make a square, for example. If we want to harvest along the path, we will call that harvest along the path. So these are just cool just to show you that even in our, and then once you go to functions, they will become available for us to use. They will be there, and then you can just start selecting them and recall them as many times as you want. Okay, guys, so that is enough explanation of functions and how we create them. So let's go to code.org and we can get started. There comes my little arrows now. They were a little slow, I'm not sure why, but there we go. So you'll see once we go to it, we make a square. This is the function we wrote, and then we'll see they become available in our function category over here. Okay. So if you guys give me a moment, I am going to go over to code.org. I'm just going to switch between my screens, and then I will make the link available to everybody, and then we can start with our coding. Okay, there's our screen. Let me just copy this link. This is the previous puzzle. Before I puzzle, yes, I'm going to send this one to you. Control copy. Okay, guys, I've just pasted it in the chat box. Quickly click on that. If you're in, just let me know in or I'm here, ready, and then we can get started. I'm going to talk about this puzzle here quickly. This is the one we did yesterday. We did go through this, and we actually wrote the 2 functions for, I just want to put it on the side here so we can see it while we look at our code. And I want to see if I can. Okay, so just move it nicely next to each other so we can look at this code. Put that there and put that one over there. Okay, there we go. Now we can see both of them. And I see you guys, seems like everybody is in already. Let's just quickly run through what we did. Now there are multiple pumpkins in each patch. Look carefully at the function definitions below to figure out how to use each one. Okay, so this is what they gave us, and then we wrote this code. The function here, get all pumpkins. So while there are pumpkins, pick pumpkins. Okay, so remember that it was just for this one over here. Here we have a function as well, check square for corn. What did we do? If there is corn, do pick corn. And then we just put it in a nice package. What did we do? We said while path ahead, move forward, and then check each square for corn. Okay, that one is easy. We've done very similar puzzles to that one as well, just that first line. Then we will use our get all pumpkins function. Okay, and what is inside that? While there are pumpkins, do pick pumpkin. Okay, and then we moved up to this corner over here by moving, or first turning left, moving 1, 2, turning left again, and then we basically just repeated it. And I think, I can't remember who did this, and while we did this, actually used 2 different loop. It was Michael, yes, it was Michael that did this one for us. We used 2 different loops, while path ahead and the repeat until there are pumpkins. But we could have used either one in either spot, or we could have used both of them in the same thing. So this was quite a nice example of more than one option that could have been used to actually perform the action or the command that we wanted to do. Okay, guys, so let's move on straight to puzzle number 6, the homework puzzle, and then we can work through that one together. And I'm just sharing the link again. Oh, that is now 5. Sorry, guys, let me just share 6 because I did see somebody ask for it. Okay. Great. Try your functions out on a longer path. So let's just quickly, I don't know why they put the functions all the way down here. I like to move them up so I can see them. Okay, there we go, guys. Let's make this nice and big, and we're going to work through it together quickly. Remember, these are our 2 functions we have available. If we go and check our function block or our function category, there they are. Check square for corn, get all pumpkins. And let's share the link again. I see we've just got some new students joining us. There we go. Okay, guys, so here we are. First step first, what are we going to do? Remember, this one is get all pumpkins. This is check square. There we go. So what we want to do is we want to check square for corn, but we want to check it in every block as we move along. So what we will do is we are going to go to our loops. We can, like we saw with the code that Michael did for us, we could have used, and we can use any one. Repeat until there are pumpkins because we've got the pumpkins here at the end, or we can move while path ahead. I'm just going to stick to the repeat until there are pumpkins. What are we going to repeat until there are pumpkins? We are going to check for corn. Okay, so let's go to our functions. We are going to check square for corn. And then once we reach the pumpkins, what are we going to do? We're going to select the pumpkins. So let's go to our function, get all pumpkins. And remember what I always tell you guys, we can run our code anytime we want just to make sure that our code works perfectly as we go along. And I see I made a little mistake. I shared the link privately. I'm sharing it with everybody now. Sorry about that, guys. There we go. Let's run it. See. Oh no, what am I doing? Remember, we also have to move forward. There we go. We have to move forward. And then check each square for corn. Let's reset and run. There we go. Perfect. So that works up until that point. Now, remember, what do? We see that the code is perfect right here. So what did we do? We repeated until there are pumpkins. We moved forward, and as we moved, we checked each square for corn. Now, once we get here, we just have to turn and move 2 spaces. Let's turn, and we are going to turn left. We are going to move 2 spaces. And then we are going to turn left again. This is all still code that Michael gave us yesterday. We just have to finish this last bit over here. So once we get to that corner over here, we turn left and we're going to do everything again. We're going to repeat until there are pumpkins. And we are going to move forward and check each square for corn. So let's go to our loops. Repeat until there are pumpkins. What am I going to repeat? If we keep asking ourselves these questions as we go through our code, normally it makes it a bit easier for me. So hopefully it helps you as well. Talk yourself through it. What do I have to do? Repeat until there are pumpkins. I have to move forward and I have to check each square for corn. So let me go to my functions because I've got that already. I don't need to write the code for it. And then once we get to the pumpkin, what do I have to do? I actually have to get all the pumpkins. Remember, now we've done a second line. Now we can quickly just run it to see, hey, does it work? That's perfect. There we go. Great stuff. So we're up to that point. Everything works fine. Now we can see all we need to do to move in this line is we just have to move forward once. We're going to just action. We're going to move forward once. And we have to turn to face upwards. Okay, so we have to turn. Which way are we going to turn? We are going to turn right. Once we've turned right, now we see we've got the exact same thing as all our other lines. There's a row over here. We had a row over here, and now we just have a row in a different direction. So I reckon we can just repeat everything again, repeat until there are pumpkins. What are we going to repeat until there are pumpkins? Move forward and check each square. And once we reach the pumpkin, we just have to pick it up. So let's go to our loops. Repeat until there are pumpkins. What are we going to repeat? Move forward and check for corn. For a moment there, I forgot where my check for corn, my check for corn code was. There we go, inside our functions, because it's a function we wrote. And then once we reach the top, what do we have to do? We have to pick all pumpkins. And I think that should be able to solve our puzzle. And look at that. We needed, or they gave us 25 blocks, and we used 25 blocks. So let's quickly run it and see what happens. There we go. One, there we go. Look at that. Awesome. All the way. And then we've got 5 pumpkins at the end. Great stuff. Okay, guys, let's quickly see. Did you notice that there was a lot of repeated code in that last puzzle. We can save space by calling that code pick a long path and using a new function to call the other functions. Wow, this is getting so crazy. Use pick a long path to solve this puzzle again using fewer blocks. Okay, guys, that sounds difficult, but if we break it down and we go through it step by step like we always do, then you'll see we'll get, let's move our functions in here. Just want to see it's only the two, oh, there's a third function. Where is it? Where is it? There we go. There's our third function. Let's just move them up here and so that we can have a look at them all on the same page. Okay, here we go, guys. Remember the same ones we've had. We have the check square for corn, get all pumpkins. Now we have this third function available here. And this third function is, because remember in the previous one we had this one that was the same as this one and the same as this one. Okay, so we wrote a function for performing that entire line. And what did we do in that line? We repeated until there are pumpkins. We checked for corn and we moved forward. In our code, we just had to move forward first. So yes, maybe it would have been better. If there was corn here in our first spot, we had to check for it first. Okay, so they just switched those two around and get pumpkins. Now they put all that inside a new function, pick a long path. Now we know that if we want to do this entire path, we only have to recall one function. Look at that. We will just put it in like that, and then it will perform this entire row over here. So let's run it and quickly see. There we go. Look at that. Runs all the way through just by doing this one block. Now, right now, we might think, you know what, this is so much code we've already written, and we're only doing such a small puzzle. But this is preparing us for when we get an entire field of crops that we have to harvest, or if we get into a different puzzle where we have to perform many commands. Then functions are great, because then you can, every time you have to recall something, just quickly recall it, drag it in. You don't have to worry about writing the code again. So here, look at that, how easy it is. Pick a long path. We are up to this point. Now we do the same thing that we did in our previous one. We just have to turn. And I have to remember to make it left. And then we are going to move forward twice. Once, twice. Turn left. And then we can recall again our entire path. Pick a long path. We can move forward once, turn right, and then we can recall our pick a long path action one more time. Oops, functions. Pick a long path one more time. If we reset, we'll see we'll run all the way to the end. There we go, pick a long path. Awesome, look at that. So I hope you guys are starting to understand this, and now we are going to look at this, create functions. Now we're not going to use the functions that they give us. We are going to create our own. I'm going to share the link. I see somebody requested the link. You guys can watch the video, and we can see here we have some new shapes. inside our code, but it's basically still the same as now. We can just drag in, and these blocks they call math blocks, and you'll see we'll start getting math blocks in our toolbox as well. So let me skip this one, but you guys are more than welcome to watch that. Oh, I see we don't have the math blocks quite, not quite in our toolbox, but that's okay. So let's quickly see what our harvester needs to do. It says over here, functions let us do more with less work. Create a function that sends the harvester down the square path and pick a single head of letters from the middle of each row. Okay, so what do we have to do? Oh, I didn't press enter. Sorry, guys. I didn't press enter in my chat box. There we go. So what do we have to do? Now they want us to write a function, create a function that sends the harvester down a square path to pick a single head of letters. Now what we can do is we can just write this path. Okay, so what are we going to call this function? We're going to go to our functions. It tells us here to do something. Now here, we can quickly just write our line of code over here. So what are we going to do? We're going to say pick letters. There we go. So there we've made our own function block. And if we go to our functions, look at that. It will appear in your function block already. Okay, so there's no code in it yet, but look at that. We've created a function, pick letters, and there it is available to use inside our function block, inside our function category. Okay, so whenever we want to recall that, we can just recall it. So what are we going to do here? We are going to move forward. Let's move forward and let's pick letters, move forward and turn right. So that is our code for this one line. Okay, now we can remember that, you know what, we've got one line of code. So there's our code for this, just this one top line. Remember, if you get stuck, we can always go up here to our tips. Do you want a hint? And we can go and read that. It says create your own function under the functions section in Toolbox. Great, we have done that. Do you want a hint? You'll see they give you a certain amount. Don't forget to use the function when you're done making it. Yes, sometimes I forget to do that as well. I see the function over here, but I never drag it in. So what we will do is we'll pick it and we'll place it up there. Let's see, let's run that. There we go, that's perfect. Now all we need to do is we have to loop that. We can go to our loop. We can just use our standard loop and we are going to repeat that 4 times because remember we have got 4 rows in a square. Now that is our code for this puzzle. So let's reset and run. There we go, perfect. Now the next one I think I'm gonna get somebody to help me out with. I must see if somebody wants to solve this next puzzle. Here we have more than one. It says, try writing your function again. It is helpful. It's still helpful. How can you make it work for this puzzle? Okay, so I see, wow, I've got so many hands going up. I saw Michael's name first, but I see his hand is gone now. So maybe JD. I see JD's hand is still up. Hi, JD, how are you? Okay, I don't hear anything from JD, so let's go to Kia.
Sir, I was asking for the link. Hello, sir.
The link again. Yes. Okay, sure. I'm going to send it for you quickly, Kia.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Okay, guys, what are we going to do? Remember, we can now try writing your function again. Is it still helpful? How can you make it work in this puzzle? Now, we can remember that we can either write a new code or we can write the code just for the one line. But what I think we'll do, see, this is where you can decide, you can write more than one. Let me go back. I see Michael does have his hand up again. He was the first one initially. So hi, Michael, how are you?
Fine, and you, sir?
I'm good, thank you. Do you think you'll be able to puzzle for us?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
So
sure.
first we're gonna write in our function block, pick all letters.
There we go. So we can make our function block and you say pick all letters. Pick all letters. Okay, you want to call it that. There we go. There's our function, pick all letters.
So, and then we move forward and put a pick letters block, and then we move forward again, and then we turn right, and then we move forward again. So.
Move forward, pick letters, move forward, and turn right. Okay, nice. That's the code we had in the previous one. What do you want to do next, Michael?
So we're gonna, excuse?
Yes, what are we going to do next, Michael? Not sure. Remember, okay, that's okay. Remember, what did we do in the previous one? This is the only one we had. We did one line, but we saw that we could repeat it and go in a square. So what did we do to this code to go in a square? We repeated how many times?
So we repeated it 4 times.
4 times. We repeated it 4 times. So now we can see, I want to show you quickly. If we spotted the code, look at this. We've got one square over here, and then we've got another square over here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to change my name of the function. And I'm going to say, let's say, farming in a square. Farming in a square. Okay, now I know that this is my code. Let me just run this. Let me go to functions, farming in the square, and I'm going to run it, and you will see that, there we go. That's perfect. I go all the way around and I pick up all the letters. Now look, I've got another square left. What do I have to do to pick this square? Look at where my character is facing, Michael. What do I have to do?
So you have to turn right, and then you move forward.
Remember, I'm not going to move forward again. I've got the code for farming in a square. So let's just turn right, and then what am I going to do? I'm going to recall my function farming in a square, because now I've got going to do the same thing. I'm going to turn right, and what is my code inside farming for a square? Move forward, pick letters, move forward, turn right. So move forward, pick letters, move forward, turn right. So we're going to reset. Look at that. We're going to reset and run. There's my 1 square, 2 squares. Look at that. We did the entire puzzle with 3 blocks. Let me just go back there quickly. There we go. And I just want to see letter Kule said turn left. Just remember, letter Kule, if we stand there and we turn left, we are going to look up. We want to look down and go around. So can everybody see what we did here? We're only farming in a square. We did the one square, and then we just turned right to face in this downward direction, and then we farmed the next square. Okay, so can everybody see? And how do we write our square? We move forward, pick lettuce, move forward, turn right, and then we just repeated that 4 times. So we've got a loop inside our function, and we just recalled farming in a square, turn right, farming in a square. Great job, Michael. Thank you for helping out.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Okay, guys, so can you see? Don't try and look at the puzzle in a whole. Try to go one bit at a time. So our previous one, we just did this line. And then we repeated that line 4 times. So this was our code. Move forward, pick letters, move forward, turn right. And then we just repeated that function we wrote 4 times. But now we included the repeat inside the function, and we went in a square. And now we're just farming in a square, and we recalled that 2 times. Let's go to puzzle number 11 and see if we can use the same code in our next one, because the next one is a little more difficult. But guys, look at this. What do we have here? Is your function still helpful for this puzzle? Let me see. Did they change our function? Okay, they threw away our function. We have to write our function again. But look at this, guys. We have a square over here. We have a square over here. And we have a square over here. So I think our square function, farming in a square, will still work perfectly. So let's quickly write our function again. Remember, how do we write it? Go to functions, click do something, and then rename it. So you can name it anything you want, but for me to remember it easily, I'm going to call it the same thing. Farming in a square. There we go. Farming in a square. Remember, what do we do? Let's go step by step. We move forward. What do we do next? We pick lettuce. We move forward and we turn right. Remember, that is just the one line. This is this one line over here. And we can run it to check it. Oh, remember just to put in your code. Let's run it. You'll see it's only this one line. There we go. Perfect. What do we do to go in a square? We repeat what we just did 4 times. So I'm going to put a loop inside my function as well, because I don't just want to farm in a line. I want to farm in a square. There's my square now finished. Now if I reset and run, you will see I'll do 1 square. Perfect. There's 1 square. Then I want to do this one first before I go up. So what am I going to do? I am going to turn right. Right to face down. So even if you are not sure, just put in 1. Let's say I put in turn left and I reset and I run. I say, okay, no, I'm facing the wrong direction. I actually want to face down. We can just quickly click on that and change it. And then what am I going to do? I'm going to farm in a square again. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to recall my farm in a square block, and that should be enough to do both squares. There we go. There's 1, there's 2, and look at where I am standing now. And look in the direction I am facing. Now I want to turn around and come and stand in this spot over here. So let's go to our actions. What can we see? What do I have? I have moved forward. So now you can decide what to do. Either you can turn around and move forward, or look at what is inside this block. Move backward. So that's going to save us some blocks, because if I have to turn around, I have to turn left or right twice. Because remember, if I just turn once, I'm going to face to the side, then I have to turn again to look up. So if I want to turn around, I have to turn 2 times. So you can do that. Turn right and turn right. It doesn't matter if you turn right or left. And then we'll see. There we go. I've turned around. Now I just have to move up. Actions, move forward 2 times. Move forward 2 times. Reset. There we go. Perfect. Now all I need to do is I have to remember my farming in a square function. I turn right. So I can't just go up here, because when I get here, our farmer wants to turn right to farm. So the only way I can go right is if I turn first and go in this direction. So that would also work fine. So I just turn left one more time to face. So you guys can quickly see, to face that direction. And then I can just add my function of farming in a square. And look at that, I still have 16, I've only used 16 blocks. So let's run it quickly, see if it works. Perfect, worked fine. But if I wanted to make this shorter, I didn't have to turn around so many times. I can actually take that, put it up there, throw away the turn. Why? Because I know that I have a move backward, move backward. Then I don't have to turn around. Then I can just move backwards. So now I just have to see that I turn in the right direction. And I see Adeline is finished. Look at that. Now the only difference here is I've moved backward. Now I have to turn right. And now look at that. I've only used 14 blocks, and I'm going to solve my puzzle because I didn't turn around first. I just moved backward, turned right, and then went in that direction. Let's look. There we go, moving backward. There we go, look at that. And still completed my puzzle. Okay, guys, so I hope you guys have a good idea of our functions and spot little things like that. Remember, there are more than one function available or one command available inside your toolbox. Play around with your toolbox, see what you have available, and experiment. Experiment, experiment, experiment. That's all I can tell you. Now, here's a challenge puzzle. You guys can try and do that for homework. They give you some code. See if you can write the code to solve this puzzle. Okay, I'm going to share the link one more time quickly. And then tomorrow we will pick up from this spot and we will complete this function lesson tomorrow. There we go. There's there's your code. Try and solve it. And then I am going to just quickly go through to my slides again. If you can solve it, please send it to me to my email address. There we go. There's my email address. And then I'm going to see you guys again tomorrow, same time, same place. Okay, guys, I want you to have a wonderful weekend. I do see I have a question in the chat box. So I'm just quickly going to stop because that's the end of our lesson. I hope you guys have a wonderful time today and you guys learn a lot of new things. Okay, guys, bye-bye.